Good morning and welcome to Verdict Day. It's been over 2 hours plus into counting for the 543 seats that went to polls for the Lok Sabha elections 2024. And there seems to be a bit of back and forth that is happening as far as some key contests and big seats are concerned. Some of the big names that are coming up is Smriti Irani looks like is trailing from Amethi as we speak. Rahul Gandhi looks like he has a slight edge as far as Raebareli is concerned. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar, and you're watching Elections with Hindustan Times. Now, it has been an election like never before. One of the longest spread elections over 7 phases, which will see its fruition today. So it's been a long process, and it's literally been a festival of democracy. The election saw the BJP eyeing a third term and the opposition coming together under the INDIA bloc. Exit polls have shown a consensus for the NDA, but the opposition has rejected these exit polls, calling them fantasy and Modi polls. But beyond the rhetoric of the political parties, what has the voter, the Aam Aadmi, really voted for? Jobs, employment, inflation, development. These have been the biggest issues on the ground. The big question, will the Prime Minister Narendra Modi come back for a historic third term? Or will the opposition manage to stage an upset? And joining me is a stellar panel. We have the spokesperson of the Congress Party, Dr. Onika Malhotra. We also have Sumitra Goenka, who is a political analyst, also now joining us. We'll shortly be joined by our other guests as well. It's good to have an all ladies panel. So good to have you with us, Sumitra, as well as Onika. But Onika, actually, I'd like to begin the conversation with you. Even though the exit polls gave a clear mandate as far as the BJP led NDA is concerned, and I want to read out some numbers. If you look at the India Today Axis My India, they gave the NDA a range anywhere between 361 to 401, the INDI bloc 131 to 161. ABCC voter 353 to 383 for the NDA, India bloc 152 to 182. News 18 mega exit poll 355 to 370, India bloc 125 to 140. So that was the kind of range that we were seeing. But despite that clear mandate that's been given, the opposition seems to have completely debunked these exit polls, some of them calling them fantasy, some of them calling them made up Modi polls. How are you seeing the early leads and trends?
Ridhima, because you see, we have been in the ground for quite some time. As you rightly said, it was the longest led election in this time, and we could feel the sense that people wanted to, understand about unemployment, inflation, women's security. These were the factors which were prevalent, and on the other, the party was talking about, you know. The M factor. This is what the
Hmm.
people didn't want to listen. They wanted to know what the Prime Minister had to deliver or
Hmm.
what he had done in the last 10 years. And these
Hmm.
factors are missing from the stage of the BJP government. So I think
Hmm.
people have been tired of the rhetoric and they were looking forward for development as promised by the Bharatiya Janata Party, which they had done earlier also, India shining and stuff like
Hmm.
that, and bringing India to the global arena. All these factors are missed from the election, and this is the Lok Sabha elections are. In terms of a larger perspective than the smaller integrity that we see or the MCD polls. So major factors are missing from the
Okay.
narrative of the party in power, whereas the opposition was talking about as to how to eradicate or how to work out a plan
Hmm.
to get more employment done, or what were the problems facing the farmers.
Okay.
All these factors were more important than having
Okay.
rhetoric.
I'll get to the issues on the ground, what seems to have been the pulse as far as the voter is concerned. We also have journalist and author Dinesh Narayanan also joining us. So good to have you with us. A long day ahead of all of us. How are you seeing the early leads, some trends that are still emerging. What we say at the beginning of every show is, and for the viewer also to understand, that this is not so black and white as far as the counting process is concerned, specifically with the kind of demographics that we have in a country like India. You have the postal ballots and the EVMs, and you have multiple rounds of counting. So, despite all the numbers that you see quickly change, it still takes a while for a picture to clear. But going by the exit polls, it looked like a clear mandate. But the numbers and leads that we are seeing as of now, it doesn't look like that the opposition bloc is that far behind.
Yeah, good morning. It does look like that, but like you said, the operative word here is early and very early. Actually, the what used to happen is that by this time the trends used to be reasonably known in earlier
Yeah,
elections, but this time around the counting seems to be going very slow. In fact, some
yeah.
other people also pointed out that the counting seems to be quite slow. We don't know why that is, but anyway, so even now we still have only early trends, so it's hard to say right now. And we've seen in the past that early trends don't mean anything. A lot of people have had to eat crow in the past commenting on the early ones. So I would not venture to do that right now.
Okay, Sumitra, look at the numbers on our screens. The NDA block, as we said, these are still, still early in the day. It's still just over 2.5 hours, but it's 279 to the NDA and the India block at 211. Now, remember, post the exit polls, the reactions that you saw from the opposition were twofold. One was they completely debunked these exit polls, saying they're made up. This is being done by the prime minister. All of these are fabricated numbers. But the other key factor was the one number that came out from the opposition itself, which was they were very clear that 295 is going to be the number as far as the opposition bloc is concerned. And if you look at the numbers as of now, and if they hold and they do convert, they're not very far from it.
Ridhima, good morning. While I agree that these numbers are not very much in sync with what the exit polls were predicting, but I think still there's a long way to go, and these are very early numbers, and we have to wait and watch. So, as an observer, I think it's too early to say anything about these numbers. Though I think there are some issues, especially with respect to the numbers which especially are coming from, say, Maharashtra or Uttar
Hmm.
Pradesh. I think these
Yeah.
are a couple of states which is making a difference. So
Yeah.
let's see how it pans out eventually, because in some places the margins which I was just observing on the election commission site as well, the margins
Yeah.
are very, like, for example, in Nasik right now it is only about 300 votes. In
Correct.
Kerala, between Rajiv Chandrasekhar and Shashi Tharoor, it was only 8 votes 15 minutes back. So I think
Yeah.
these are very close numbers, and right now saying anything is really very difficult. But yes, I think the exit polls, somewhere we have to see at the end of the day whether they need to really look at how they have collected the data. I mean, it's again too early, but they need to
Yeah.
really check out. But I feel NDA will have a comfortable victory. It's too
Okay.
early for India to celebrate as of now. That's my initial reaction, I would say.
So India, at the end of the day, will celebrate. It might not be the opposition bloc, but it will be the country, because the festival of democracy would have seen its fruition, and we will get a direction with the new government that comes in by the end of the day. But Dinesh, I agree with the point that Sumitra was making, which is that there are two big trends that came out, at least as far as the exit polls are concerned. Yes, exit pollsters get it wrong all the time. We had seen this with UPA once. So, we're not going to have any foot in mouth, but at least for these exit polls that came on the 1st of June, two very interesting trends came out. One was, will the BJP finally manage to make inroads as far as the southern part of the country is concerned, which till now had been said that this is out of bounds as far as the BJP is concerned. The other was states like Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh, as Sumitra was rightly pointing out. Even if you look at the breakup within the 543, it's about 80 seats to Uttar Pradesh and about 48 to Maharashtra. So a big bulk of these seats also constitute that 543. And if you just look at some of the numbers that are holding up for these states, Uttar Pradesh, BJP plus is about 42, SP plus is 36, BSP one, others one. Maharashtra is INC plus 25, BJP plus 20, others 3. So it does look like, if these are the two states where the opposition manages to stage an upset, this will have a big bearing as far as the end number is concerned.
Oh, absolutely, no doubts about that. I mean, 128 seats is, a fourth of a little less than a little less than a fourth of the entire Lok Sabha. So
Yeah.
clearly that will have a huge impact, no doubts about that. And you're right that the South is seeing trends which seems like the BJP has made some inroads into areas where they were not, I mean, literally not present, a state like Kerala. But also remember, Kerala is a state which has thrown up surprises in the past as well.
Hmm.
Post-emergency, when in the elections, when the entire country routed the Congress, the state of Kerala voted for the Congress. So there
Yeah.
can be surprises in some of these corners of the country. But UP and Maharashtra, no doubt, hold the key. And it's an old saying in Indian politics that whoever scores UP scores rules the center.
Yeah. Yeah, but Anika, I want to actually bring you in for a broader understanding. This election, as we said, was important for both sides. For the BJP, if Prime Minister Modi comes back to power, he'll become the longest reigning, Prime Minister. So it's going to be a big boost as far as the BJP and the NDA is concerned. For the opposition bloc, for the first time around, they came under this umbrella of the INDI alliance, and they said that we'll put all our individual differences aside, at least on paper, they said that, to come together to take on the behemoth as far as the BJP is concerned. But did you really manage to achieve that? And let me give you two examples. Let's take Bengal, for example, where you had Mamta Banerjee making her differences very, very clear as far as the opposition bloc is concerned. You saw the TMC going on individual marches. Then you had a state like Punjab, where the AAP and the Congress were at loggerheads. And these were the two parties that were supposed to be together under the umbrella of the INDI bloc. So, for the voter, or even for the cadre working on the ground, do you think this collective messaging was sent out successfully?
I agree on that, Ridhima, and I feel that it could have been done much earlier. But yes, there were Vidhan
Hmm.
Sabha elections in Karnataka, but I'm sure if it would have been done earlier, the results would have been much more impressive. But having said that, nevertheless, we came together. Individual differences were put aside because the purpose was to ensure that a country which is run under a purpose to divide, have a divisive kind of an agenda, to have the religion aspect coming into it, and the constitution was really, we could say, was in threat. Those were the
Hmm.
factors which we felt that yes, we might have different ideologies, we might have of different opinions, but for a broader perspective to save the country,
Hmm.
it was very important and vital to come together. Then later on we might get to a consensus to
Hmm.
sort out the differences. But the country at large was endangered. The country at large was seen, the way there was no level playing field. The institutions were
Hmm.
hackerable. They were under a certain regime. It was not free. There were no level playing field.
Hmm.
Chief ministers were, sent to jail. All those things actually led that, the time is to not small our differences, but to see a larger picture and ensure that the constitution, the democracy, the framework of the country, remain,
Hmm.
and not just have a monopoly of two people running the show and the rich becoming the richer, the poor
Hmm.
actually being sidelined. And we have seen how things were handled in the country. To all promises were made. Stuff like gas cylinders or gas,
Hmm.
the rupee coming down. There are so many, but it was
Hmm.
the media also played a vital role, ma'am. It was
Hmm.
not being sent across to the general public. But when the
Hmm.
India Alliance came together,
but
they
but
really
but
worked well. Ridhima?
Anika, to be fair, you said, and this is a narrative the oppositions had over the last few years, that agencies are working at the behest of the central party, leaders from the opposition are being targeted, they're being put behind bars. But even within that opposition, there is a fragmented reaction to that. When you had leaders within the AAP who were either being, arrested or put behind bars, the Congress came out and said, let the judiciary do its work. It's the same Congress leaders who were themselves targeted, or under the scanner, they questioned the role of the agency. So you can't have it both ways, and I
No, no,
think
no.
that is something that was picked up by the BJP as well. But I just want to get an update. I can see Shashi Tharoor trailing as of now, and if you look at some of the other numbers, about 526 leads is what we have out of 543, with the NDA at about 283, and the INDI block at about 215. But Sumitra, I want to bring you back in the conversation, taking on from what Onika was saying. This is largely what the narrative of the opposition had been, that this is an autocratic government. They don't have the free flow of the democracy. The opposition voice is essentially muzzled, and we've seen this in parliament session after parliament session. You've seen walkouts by the opposition simply making that point that our voice is just not heard. So how can you still call it a vibrant democracy? The examples of opposition leaders being targeted, the essential poll plank of the opposition was that the BJP is like a washing machine. If you have any cases against you, people jump parties and those cases are essentially gone. And we've seen this in multiple cases. Is that the government that this country today deserves?
See, I don't agree with all those points. I think when you talk about Mr. Rahul Gandhi, we have seen an excellent example where he has torn out the ordinance which was promulgated in the parliament, and he just blatantly insulted the sitting Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh by doing that. So this is a clear example of how democracy is being insulted by Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Secondly, in this election, I think the results which are again showing NDA is still, I think around 233 seats is what they are leading in. So I don't
Hmm.
see that the people of this country are feeling what the Congress party is feeling basically. Secondly, the Congress had to do a lot of things like to move out of this dynastic approach which they were having.
Oh,
First time they had to bring in Mr.
Very
Mallikarjun Kharge
conflict.
as the head of the
hmm.
party to wipe off that particular image where Mr. Rahul
Hmm.
Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi were seen to be everything for the Congress party. So these are
Hmm.
certain things which have happened. So this is something again which cannot be neglected. Secondly, if you look at the other issues as well, how the OBC vote bank, which was around
Yeah,
44% of the vote bank in 2019 for the BJP,
correct.
was being specifically targeted by the Congress party this time by saying "Jitni abadi utna hak" and all those things. So I'm not very sure whether these have struck a chord with the people. Though there are some
Okay.
underlying issues, like for example Agniveer, which I feel had a impact in some areas of Rajasthan, especially Sikar or Jhunjhunu district, where most of the people join the army from. So those are a couple of
Hmm.
things which we have heard. But otherwise, I think I don't completely agree with whatever Dr. Onika has been speaking here. And
Okay.
let's see. Let's wait and see how much the people, agree with Congress or their standpoint in this election. I think it's still too early. Another
Ridhima,
half
only
an
छोटी
hour will
बात
give us
please.
a clear picture.
Okay. Before I bring Dinesh
Ridhima,
back into the conversation, some heavyweights actually seem to be trailing. I can see Akhilesh Yadav trailing, Supriya Sule trailing, Kanimudi also trailing as of now. Dinesh, I want to bring you back in the conversation and I want to understand which is this vote bank that actually has played a dominant factor. Over the last few years, every time we've gone out on the ground or spoken to the voters, and this is a term that's in fact loosely been used, which is the MY vote, which typically used to be the Muslim Yadav vote. But over the last couple of years, this MY is translated into the Mahila vote as far as the youth vote. The Mahila vote, and I've seen this on the ground over the last few years, a vote that used to be whatever the male in the family decides, to them having their own decision, which has become a big silent vote as far as the final end result is concerned. Is that Mahila vote also going to be one of the most crucial factors this time around?
Oh yes, the Mahila vote was is a very crucial factor. Last time also, it played a crucial role in the way the BJP surge happened, and youth vote as well. I mean, in fact, even in the new voters, I think there are about 2.63 crore new voters, and of that, about 1.4 or 1.5 crore is women voters.
Hmm.
And even which means that no, even in the 18 to 22-year category, even there the Mahila voter counts, quite high. It will matter, and this election probably would show you whether it is exactly. Sorry, I got a call.
No problem.
This election probably will show you where whether people are voting for their aspirations or whether people are voting with their heart. Like for example, we did not see the kind of surge for Ram Janmabhoomi, which was expected
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
heartland state. We didn't see that. I haven't been on the ground much, but a lot of people who went on the ground said that it did not seem to be an issue as it looked like a couple of months before the elections began.
Okay.
And it didn't seem like an issue in the south at all in many places. So
Hmm.
clearly, and a lot of women voters in the rural areas also have a soft corner for the Ram Janmabhoomi issue,
Okay.
which probably did not work in these places in the northern states.
Okay. Okay. Before I just get our guests back, we're also getting some live reactions coming in from the likes of Hema Malini, Omar Abdullah. Let's just play them out and then we'll continue the discussion.
आएगी और हम लोग जरूर सरकार हम बनाएंगे। और मेरा भी मथुरा से बहुत अच्छा लीड हो रहा है, अभी इस वक्त तो काफ़ी अच्छा चल रहा है। एंड अभी आगे देखेंगे, 1 बजे तक बहुत सब क्लियर हो जाएगा। डेफिनेटली मोदी सरकार तो बनेगी ही बनेगी, बहुत ज़रूरी भी है इस वक्त देश के लिए, आने वाली पीढ़ी के लिए इट्स वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट। और मेरा भी यहाँ पर रहना बहुत ज़रूरी है मेरे लिए, क्योंकि मैं बहुत कुछ करना चाह रही हूँ ब्रजवासियों के लिए, ब्रज के लिए, हमारे मथुरा वृंदावन के लिए, और बहुत कुछ सोच के रखा है। वो सारा काम मैं जरूर करके जाऊंगी इस बार पे।
मुझे कोई संदेह नहीं है। अब आगे जीत पर फिर मैं अंतिम टिप्पणी करूंगा। इतना ही कह सकता हूं कि बहुत ही प्रभावी निर्णायक जीत होगी। भारत की जनता नरेंद्र मोदी की अगुवाई में एनडीए को पूरा आशीर्वाद दे रही है। अब देखिए, सामने दिखाई पड़ रहा है कि उत्तर प्रदेश में 49 में 80 में 34।
So confident, Hema Malini there saying extremely confident of the work that has been done by the Prime Minister, and thus the BJP and the NDA at large will in fact have the edge. But I'm just looking at some other states, and I want to bring Dinesh back in the conversation. We were talking about the South India factor, which actually seems to be the big trend that emerged, at least as far as the exit polls are concerned. Specifically, when Congress had that lead as far as the last Karnataka state elections were concerned, this was the point that was reiterated by the opposition once and again, that yes, the Hindi heartland might have the hold as far as the Prime Minister's sway is concerned, his own seat from Varanasi, so on and so forth. But down south is something that the BJP will not be able to get any sort of numbers. Now, just going at least as far as the exit polls are concerned, it looked like they will manage to at least open their account as far as states like Tamil Nadu and others are concerned. Even if it's a start and they're bare single digit numbers, how crucial is for the BJP to go beyond that zero number to have their opening as far as the South is concerned?
Of course, it was sort of their last frontier, right? So it is very important for the BJP from their perspective to open an account in the south. And say, remember, Kerala, for example, is a state where the RSS has been present since the 1940s, and it's a state where the RSS had the largest number of shakhas in their provincial numbers. The largest number of shakhas throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, and till recently. Now they're bifurcated into two. I mean, North and South Kerala, so it doesn't hold anymore. But otherwise, as a united entity, as an RSS province, Kerala had that largest number, but they were not able to convert it into electoral success. And a main reason for that is that a large number of Hindus voted for the CPM, CPM or the Congress, and BJP has not had traction there. And now they seem to be making very slow inroads into that constituency.
But Onika, if you just look at the Karnataka numbers, that's not going to be making the Congress very happy. As of now, it's showing BJP plus 19 and the Congress only at 9. Now, one of the patterns that has emerged with the Congress for the longest time is even states that were typically the strongholds, whether it was a Punjab, whether it was a Rajasthan, or whether it was a Karnataka, there was infighting within the party that in fact led to you losing the state, whether it was a Gehlot versus Sachin Pilot in Rajasthan, whether it was a DK Shivkumar, Siddharamaiah picture, whether it was a Charanjit Singh Channi captain picture in Punjab, that seems to be a perennial problem as far as the Congress party is concerned. You leave it to way too late in the day to fix those internal issues that eventually reflect as far as the national picture is concerned.
Ridhima, accept the fact, yes, there have been infighting. But I would like to answer to your political analysis because you see, I fail to understand what the definition of a political analysis. It has to be an unbiased opinion for both, for any party which is contesting, not just for the
Sure.
ruling party or a tilt. I want to answer to a question. She talks about dynasty. Look at BJP's hypocrisy. I mean, you talk about dynasty, you try to put a narrative. 10 years, you started with, Videshi, Videshi, Videshi. Then you start with, Parivarvad. What are you people doing? What is BJP doing? Matlab, I'm aghast. You don't peep into their own conscience to see what they are doing. And look at the corruption issue. They talk about, I will not allow any corruption. I'll put them behind the bars. Look at from Himanta Vishwas to others. You rightly said it's a washing machine. Not only Nirma has become their own washing powder, which just bleaches every week. I mean, these factors are not visible by the political analysis. I'm shocked. At least open your eyes and be aware, be unbiased. I'm really taken aback by the pointers. Yes, if Congress did mistakes, we have borne the brunt, and we accept that confidence with yes, with introspection that yes, we might have done. Does that mean that we'll be out of power for years and years? What was BJP? Just two MPs. Oh, all right, they've been there for 10 years. Does that give them any leverage to be there throughout? Are they that powerful? They have done blunder mistakes. They start with
Anika,
jumlas.
I agree with the point that you're making, and I'll just take that to Sumitra in just a bit to understand what the narrative has been as far as the BJP is concerned. But I'm just understanding the Congress's strategy, and the reason that I'm focusing so much on the Congress is not just because you're a spokesperson, but even as far as the opposition bloc is concerned. Out of the 543 seats, the bulk of it is a direct fight as far as the BJP and the Congress is concerned. So if Congress wants to be seen as the poll leader within the opposition bloc, they have to have the bulk of this heavy loading itself. And within these direct fights, if the Congress is losing in some of the key states and key constituencies, then it reflects on the party which has had huge national ambitions, not from today, but for decades together.
As I said, yes, we need to look at the factors. What is it that is keeping us back? But having said that, look how the BJP runs the show. I mean, it's like Chanda Do, Dhanda Lo types. It's bonds. It's freezing the count of the Congress. You don't have a level playing field. You raise a voice, you're behind the bars.
Sumitra,
So
Onika
this
is
is what the BJP
essentially
is
saying
doing.
that yes,
You think you can
Congress will do it. Okay, Sumitra is essentially, Onika is saying yes, the Congress will do its introspection. They realize there have been some lags and shortcomings. But what is this narrative that the BJP has spun itself? The opposition has been accusing the BJP of having a polarization, a factor of polarization or a narrative of polarizing communities, atrocities against the minorities. That really has been their narrative. And they're saying that the BJP only manages to win as far as divisive politics is concerned. We've seen what's happened in the last 2 years as far as states like Karnataka and others are concerned, where violence, divisive politics, halal politics, hijab politics, all this seems to have dominated as far as political headlines are concerned. And that's the direct accusation that has come from the opposition, that this is what the BJP thrives in, because they seem to be ignoring the real issues, which is unemployment, which is inflation, which is where are the jobs. But other than that, they seem to be focusing on everything else.
See, Ridhima, first of all, today is a day of analyzing the election results. And once the results come, everybody, whether it is BJP or the Congress, both the parties will know where they stand and what has gone wrong or what has gone right with their policies. Now, coming to the fact that, ma'am was just speaking about that, what kind of analysis I'm doing. I am not here to do analysis of what BJP did right or Congress did wrong. Basically, that is something which these parties will have to introspect themselves, and both have their shortcomings as well as both have their positives. Now, if you look at, let us take one by one the points. If you talk about the policies which BJP has implemented, so I believe that when BJP has given certain things, like the gas
Hmm.
connection, water connection,
Hmm.
or the roads have been built, highways have been built,
Hmm.
while you have to look at the dashboard numbers for these numbers are very clear.
Hmm.
In that, there was no differentiation made between whether the
Hmm.
connection was given to a Hindu or a Muslim or a Christian or a
Come
Sikh or
on.
whatever religion the
Come
person
on.
Hmm.
belonged to. It was given to everybody irrespective of the name, caste, creed, and everything. So these things
Okay.
have reached the last mile. Now, if we are talking about other factors like the growth rate of the economy, the kind of
Hmm.
FDIs which have come into the
Ma'am,
country, we
ma'am,
can
2
talk
crores
about
jobs.
these.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. 2 crores
Hold on,
job.
hold on.
Ma'am,
Let me finish.
ma'am.
You can speak when
No,
your
no,
turn
but
comes.
please talk about this,
Why
na.
are you
Talk about the
started today?
promises they
Okay.
made.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean,
Onika,
you
Onika,
know,
let's not speak
Hold
over
on, ma'am.
each. Let's
Hold
not
on,
speak
ma'am.
over each other. Let Sumitra
I'm
make
not
her
glorify.
point, and
criticizing
then
the
I mean, I've
let
met
Sumitra
you
make
many
her
times
point,
in
and then
debates.
I'll come back
You
to you.
just
Dinesh has
glorify
also
the
been
BJP.
patiently waiting.
And on the other hand, you
Okay.
don't
Okay.
see what the Congress did for so many years.
You
It's a
don't
base
have the
that
Okay.
Congress
patience
gave.
Onika,
to even hear what I
Monica,
said,
I
ma'am.
will I will request you. I will request you. Let Sumitra
Okay.
make a point. I have to go back to Dinesh also. He's been patiently waiting. Sumitra, make your point.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, I think Miss Dr. Onika did not hear the point where I said that whatever the results will come, the parties will themselves decide what they did right and what they did wrong. So it
Okay.
will give a clear indication of where they went right and wrong. Today is not the day of taking out one point and say that Congress did this, BJP did this. This is not the debate which
Hmm.
we are on today. But yes, if you
Sure.
look at the positives and negatives, I think there are hundreds of things which each party has done and which each party has not done. Now, if people are
Okay.
not happy with policies of the BJP or the last mile has not received the benefits of the policies, then the mood of the nation will be reflected in the votes. But if the BJP receives a mandate of majority, then obviously we have to consider that yes, this is a good thing which the BJP has done. And though if the seats come down, then again you will have to introspect and figure out why the seats came down. Because, like I said in my
Okay.
initial thing also, that there are certain things like maybe the Agniveer policy, which
Sure.
has caused a problem. There could be areas like the onion price, the onion export ban in Maharashtra, which was
Okay.
an important factor. So I am sure political parties are mature enough to analyze what went wrong and how it went wrong in their constituencies locally or in the
Okay.
other areas. But so far as the election results go, this will help the parties to evaluate and understand
Sure.
what went wrong and what needs to be
Sure.
corrected.
I think that's a mature approach that Sumitra is also taking. That at the end of the day, yes, there will be a winner, but this also becomes an exercise of introspection and self-reflection for each of the political parties and the stakeholders involved. Dinesh, thank you for patiently waiting. But this is what the latest trends are now saying. They seem to be going against what the exit polls had shown, that the BJP actually might fall short as far as the majority is concerned. And if you look at states like West Bengal, states like Punjab, who'd given a clear mandate the other way around, that seems to be completely proving the pollsters wrong. Like, just look at Uttar Pradesh also. I'm looking at it's almost neck to neck. About a minute ago, it was SP plus leading. Now it's again the BJP with 40. But look at states like West Bengal. It's the EITC with 25, BJP about 13. Tamil Nadu, DMK plus is about 37. AIADMK, which most pollsters have given zero, is about 2, and BJP plus is 0. So there seems to be some big lag in some key states as far as the pollsters are concerned.
Absolutely. There's no doubts about it that at least right now, the pollsters seem to have got it wrong. I mean, there is quite a distance to cover still, but usually at this point, at this time of the day, the trends have generally solidified. So, and it is very difficult to change it. Usually, what happens is that when there is a wave, you see the trends neck and neck, and one party or one front pulling away, and towards the end of the day they sort of run away with quite a few number of seats. That may not happen today. This seems to be like an a typical election where uh, sometimes in the 80s or in the 70s, where some of the elections where you could not really predict, and there were issues, very strong issues on both sides. Campaigns were fought very hard, as is the case right now. I mean, 2019, the elections got all the issues got swamped by the Pulwama and Balakot
Yeah.
issues, Balakot strikes. 2014 elections was a completely different one. Again, there was a surge. There were movements all across the world, and we had seen the culmination
Hmm.
of the anti-corruption movement in India.
Hmm.
From 2009, 2010 onwards, there was this massive surge of popular people's anger against many issues. There was the Nirbhaya rape case in 2012. There were so many issues which had culminated, and both Narendra Modi as well as you could see a sort of trend catching on. um, People's participation increasing between 2009
Yeah.
and 2015. And 2019, again, the participation transformed into another sort of an emotional connect with
Hmm.
national security issue. All of it disappeared in 2024. This year, the
Yeah.
issues have been very bare bones, very
True.
people centric issues, daily issues. Inflation became an issue. Um, there was no overwhelming emotive issue which one party or the other could run with, even
Hmm.
though the BJP tried to do it. And I
Yeah.
think there was some hope, like I mentioned earlier, there was some hope that Ramjan Bhoomi will be that card, but it did not turn out to be one. And so there were other issues, and this election was again fought in the name of one person. It has been so in the past couple of elections as well, but more than ever, you saw an election where one personality against all others, and which
Yeah.
it has its pluses and minuses, because from BJP's perspective, if if they win by a big margin, and as they said, char so far, then you have an incredibly powerful government and an incredibly
True.
powerful individual right at the center,
Yeah.
uh, and which means that a lot of decisions could be taken without so much as an opposition. But that's not going to
Yeah.
be the case, right? So it pulls back all those one-sided, what shall I say, expectations, and now brings it
Hmm.
all back to more of a democratic debate and more of a democratic participation by all sections of the people, which
No,
I
I
think
agree
is
with
a
the point that Dinesh is actually making, that, and that's the point that, and BJP has never shied away from that. You have to give it to them. They're very clear as far as their narrative is concerned that we are asking vote in the name of Modi. It is the Modi factor, and it's not just at any particular constituency or state level. It is the national picture, and that is how the BJP is going to do with it. Onika, and this is exactly what I want to bring you back in the conversation with. When you're up against such an aggressive machinery, and we've seen this year after year, the BJP treats a municipal election, a state election, and a national election exactly the same way. They have their strategy, their heads, and their boots on the ground well in advance. A BJP reporter in the morning was telling me that even as they're monitoring the exit polls, they've also started sending out these forms to every leader of various constituency to ensure they start filling in how many votes they got, what was their lag, what is the difference going to be, to do an inner strategy already in place. That's the kind of future thinking that they have. So when a Congress is taking on a behemoth and an aggressive machinery like that, do you feel the Congress could have been far more aggressive as far as their campaign is concerned, specifically as far as the Gandhis is concerned? I mean, for Raebareli and Amethi, there was almost this back and forth. There was a lot of suspicion about what is it going to be, with Rahul Gandhi finally deciding the other way around. But was there a rethink as far as the strategy is concerned, at least as far as Amethi is concerned?
Yes, Ridhima, indeed, BJP, you have to give it for that because they are at it 24 into 7. Whether right, whether wrong, whether nasty, whether under the cover, you name it, all tactic, they do it. Congress, yes, has a different pattern of working. But yes, we need to also strategize much ahead. At times, we lose
Hmm.
because of these factors. There's no
Yeah.
shying away from it, and things have changed in the party accordingly. opponents are there. We have discussions, deliberations. As far as Amethi is concerned, yes, why not? We definitely had a beautiful strategy at the back foot. They were taken aback. Smriti Irani on a drop of hat, Rahul Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi. She used to just do that, and there was no development in the area. You see, Ridhima, it's interesting. Whatever the result might be, but it is really interesting. Narendra Modi trailing in the initial was the mood of the nation. You could just see sense from there. No matter what they
But
might
that
get,
brief
whatever
trailing
fate
has
or what,
now actually
but
been
he
taken. He's
trailed.
leading in Varanasi again.
He is at the
As of
moment, but
now, yes, there was a brief
that
trail,
moment when he
but
was
he
trailing,
seems
it
to be
was there
leading
on the
now.
net. You can't deny that he trailed, didn't it? Didn't he? So the larger than life image has somewhere down the line dwindled, Ridhima, because you see, you need to deliver all the time. If you keep setting a narrative and not doing anything, you might spark off some policies like the as ma'am was saying about the connectivity and stuff like that. But they are all on papers, on ground realities.
Yeah.
They have not received it. The
So,
figures
it's
are
interesting
all
what
manipulated.
Onika is pointing out. Sumitra, I want to bring you back. She's saying the Congress had a strategy in place as far as Amethi is concerned, and they took everyone with surprise. And even if you look at the latest leads coming in, Smriti Irani is actually trailing in Amethi, and Gandhi is actually leading in Raebareli. So the Congress is saying we in fact had a strategy in place, which as of now, if these leads hold and actually convert, then the Congress will say that you can keep tom-tomming and indulge in name calling, but you actually did work on the ground. Sumitra? Okay, we'll just try and reconnect with Sumitra. But Dinesh, if I can take that to you, just look at some of the big names. Smriti Irani, as of now,
Hello,
trailing
can you hear
in
me?
Amethi. Yeah. Sumita, I'll just come back to you. Dinesh, I mean, just look at the some of the big names. Smriti Irani, as of now, trailing in Amethi. You have Rahul Gandhi leading in Raebareli. Uttar Pradesh is turning out to be extremely neck and neck because I'm seeing this change literally by the minute. Shashi Tharoor down south seems to be trailing as far as Trivandrum is concerned. But the Modi factor, as far as Varanasi is concerned, he is now leading by 40,000 plus. That's the kind of lag. So anything else vis-a-vis the Modi factor, there we don't seem to be seeing a dent, at least as of now.
Yeah, very rarely does a constituency defeat, its own prime minister.
Yeah.
Why would they do that? I mean, it doesn't matter who it is, but still, if the prime minister is going to be from your constituency, I mean, it is most likely that the person would win. Apart from the famous defeat which Indira Gandhi had, but the point is that it just shows one thing. A lot of times, politicians tend to take, after a while, politicians tend to take people for granted. And this election makes it very, very clear. I mean, 2004, the BJP did that. This election again, I repeat that it's not sealed and done, and things could change. But uh, it's 11:15 right now,
Yeah.
so the trend seem to have solidified. So
The big names
it's not
actually seem
a
to be
good.
leading. If you look at Rahul Gandhi, Raebareli is leading. Amit Shah from Gandhinagar, Gujarat is leading. You have Rajnath Singh from Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. He seems to be leading. Asuddin Owaisi from Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh, MIM also seems to be leading. Supriya Sule, who was trailing from Baramati in Maharashtra, also, in fact, seems to be leading as of now. From Karnataka, we're getting Bangalore South, Tejasvi Surya from the BJP. He seems to be leading. For the BJP, Smriti Irani continues to trail. Omar Abdullah from the JKNC, he continues to trail. So there are a lot of heavyweights actually that seem to be will worry the BJP as of now. But I'm just looking at some other states as well. The market's not reacting well as far as this close battle is concerned. I'm seeing the Sensex tank almost over 3,000 points. The market's already open in the red earlier in the day. As well. Sumitra, apologies, I couldn't hear you, a little while ago, but please go ahead. As I
Can you hear
said,
me
some
now?
heavyweights as far as the BJP is concerned, that's going to make the BJP worried as of now, specifically as far as Smriti Irani is concerned, because this almost became like an ego battle between both the political parties.
Yeah, see, every election has its store of surprises. Like last time we saw Rahul Gandhi lost that seat. So right now, Smriti Irani, I think, is trailing by about 29,000 votes. So
Hmm.
it's a lot to cover. I will agree with that.
Hmm.
So let's see what happens in the next rounds of counting. While Prime Minister Modi, I think, is 50 almost 49,000 votes ahead right now. So that is again a big margin. So every election we have seen that some of the people lose elections, so it may bring in some surprises. And I agree with Mr. Dinesh Narayanan when he says that you cannot take the people of the country for granted anytime. If there are underlying issues in your constituency or in respect to certain matters, like I talked about, say probably the Agniveer, or say in the Maharashtra, there could be some issues with reference to the farmers with respect to onion exports. I think that has hit Maharashtra seats as well when it comes to Maharashtra politics. So these are some of the things which probably may have to be looked upon. Still, the results are not out, so we can't say for
Yeah.
sure. But yes, of course, there has to be introspection for these
Hmm.
areas, which probably they never expected to do so badly in those particular seats. So yes, this is a close contest now, and exit polls definitely have not given a true picture for any of the exit polls. So a big credibility issue with all the exit polls as of now, I think.
But the BJP was the one who was very happy with these exit polls. The opposition had called them fantasy. It looks like it could be very far off from the mark of the pollsters as of now. Onika, I want to bring you back in the conversation as far as the southern inroads is concerned. As I was talking to Dinesh, and Sumitra also a short while ago, which was for the BJP, it is going to be massive if they make inroads as far as a state like Tamil Nadu is concerned. But even if you look at a state like Karnataka, the Congress seems to be trailing, and how the lag only seems to be increasing between the BJP and the Congress. Now, as far as Karnataka is concerned, it's very interesting because their voting pattern is based on very clear vote banks, which is the Vokaligas as far as the Lingayats, and we usually see the leaders come from that
Yes.
community because that is what defines the narrative. Are there specific issues that seems to have troubled the Congress as far as Karnataka is concerned?
Yeah, that's surprising, and it's not very, because we have a government there, and despite that,
Yeah.
if you're losing on the Lok Sabha seat, there's a big question mark. We need to see, though the selection of candidates, combination, or all the parameters that is needed to pitch in a candidate was thoroughly looked into it. But if we are three, that's a big question mark. It's actually surprising, because we've done very well in the Vidhan Sabha, and
Hmm.
big leaders handling the state.
Yeah.
Things are not looking that bright there. So that's
Yeah,
a
Dinesh,
surprise
the
factor for
Karnataka
us.
picture also seems to be becoming very interesting. When the exit polls came, the big talking points were states like Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Punjab,
Yeah.
and maybe inroads for the BJP in Tamil Nadu. Karnataka seems to be becoming another very
Yes.
important factor and will be a huge setback for the Congress if they lose this state. As I said, Karnataka typically has a very interesting pattern in how they choose their leaders, specifically as far as their vote bank of the Vokaligas and the Lingayats. And we see their leaders coming from those two big communities. But unfortunately for Karnataka, the politics has been dominated by everything else other than development, whether it was the hijab politics, whether it was the halal politics, whether it was these episodes of violence on the ground. Do you think the current government is far away from reality of what the voter on the ground wants? And of course, if you talk to anyone, and I'll be like putting a very simplistic picture. Go to Bangalore. We talk about it being the Silicon City of India. It has got its own issues of potholes, mismanagement, infrastructure. But do you think the real issues have completely been forgotten in this political narrative?
No, not really. We did work on these factors, like as you said, there's
Di-
rain factors and things
Dinesh,
are there.
Dinesh, Monica, that question also, Dinesh. Dinesh,
Yeah,
please.
perhaps it did, and also the thing is that there seemed to be, at least when the elections began, right in the beginning and middle of April, there seemed to be some anti-incumbency which had already built up against the state government there.
Yeah.
For example, which is there in two states, in Kerala and here, and
Hmm.
in Telangana as well. You've seen that. So that could have played a part, and the Prajwal issue came a little later. So one
Hmm.
part of the elections were over. If it had come
Yeah.
earlier, probably things would have been different in terms
That
of
phase was over by the time the news of
yes,
Rivanna came on. Yeah.
yes. So that could have also been a factor, which
Hmm.
in the first phase of the elections, and the second
Hmm.
phase probably it changed. We don't know that yet. Karnataka
Yeah.
is a state. I mean, it's like Madhya Pradesh in the state elections. Nobody
Yeah.
could figure out why it surged so much, and
Hmm.
Karnataka also seems to be the same. Seems to be the same. What exactly has worked in Karnataka or not worked in Karnataka, and the undercurrents, because the currents also kept shifting. At
Yeah.
least what we could see from newspaper reports and other reports, the currents also kept shifting. How it finally settled is something which we'll know only in a few days' time.
Yeah. Okay. Another interesting picture that is emerging is out of Rajasthan. And Monica, I want to bring you back into the picture as far as even Rajasthan is concerned. Typically, Rajasthan for the longest time, was seen as a stronghold as far as the Congress is concerned. But the BJP seem to have completely turned that narrative, and they continue with their lead as far as the state is concerned. The BJP went after Ashok Gehlot, and the issues were very, very clear. One issue was that there is no safety of women on the ground, and they pulled out multiple cases. The other narrative was as far as corruption is concerned. You saw this entire narrative of the Lal diary, the red diary, and they said, this is corruption. This just reflects what the party at the top reflects. These were strongholds of the Congress. And if the footprint with each state that the Congress loses is only going to diminish as far as its own national picture is concerned. What's gone wrong as far as the strongholds are concerned?
Yeah, exactly. Because you see, it's mostly parties bank upon their strongholds, where I think
Hmm.
they feel that this is it, and we have set a narrative, and the people will, definitely be inclined towards their ideology. Yes, I mean, ultimately we have to see the final results, Ridhima, and then get down to the fact where we have gained and where we have lost, where we are actually thinking we would have gained. So these are the
Yeah.
introspection that we will be doing, definitely. And we need to work on it. You say, just by
Hmm.
saying that just because we're not in power for 10 years and we'll come back doesn't suffice. We as a party
Hmm.
should also look into the fact that these are our strongholds, and why are the people drifting away from us. As we criticize the
Hmm.
BJP, as we know their factors, I think we on our part should also know what are the factors which is putting us back in Rajasthan was always,
Hmm.
yeah, 5 years
Yeah.
they chose one government, 5 years they chose other government. But for the Lok Sabha, we are very confident that,
Hmm.
Rajasthan, because Agniveer was one factor which we felt that hit them very badly. The
Hmm.
Kisan rules, the laws that came up, many factors which were against the BJP, but still, if we are not gaining ground there, we need to see what is it that the people of Rajasthan. So accordingly, as we made a general manifesto and then we made state-wise also, maybe we
Correct.
must have
Correct.
not picked up those clues which the person
Hmm.
wanted.
Okay.
So yeah,
But
these
Uttar
are the
Pradesh
to
factors.
again.
make a point,
Yeah, Sumitra,
Ridhima,
I'm coming to you only. I'm just looking at the Uttar Pradesh numbers as well. There, that seems to be going down to the wire. It's now the India bloc ahead as far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned. And if Uttar Pradesh actually goes to the opposition, there's going to be a big dent as far as the momentum of the narrative as far as the BJP is concerned. Even if you look at the national capital and Haryana, typically these are numbers that have been very, very uh, clear over the last few elections, but that also doesn't seem to be having a very clear picture. But Uttar Pradesh, Sumitra, what seems to be happening? The India bloc actually seems to be having a decent lead as of now.
frankly speaking, I don't have a clue here what is happening. We'll have to just wait and watch, I think, till the end of the results come out. But in case Uttar Pradesh, I think, is a cause of concern by the end of the counting. I think there could be some factors like the caste politics, which has
Hmm.
played a role here. There could be farmers' issues, and there could be some more issues which definitely BJP needs to then introspect. The Ram Mandir factor then definitely has not worked for Uttar Pradesh. In
Hmm.
case these trends continue, I would say, but if there is if things change, then maybe it's just the opposite. So that is one thing. While
Okay.
we were discussing the South factor, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things because, for Andhra
Sure.
Pradesh and for Odisha, we had elections for the assembly constituencies as well this time. And I think
Hmm.
those results are showing some trends. So in Odisha, I think BJD is trailing right now in the assembly, and in Andhra Pradesh also TDP is showing a good
EDPM.
sign
Hmm.
of revival. So these are also interesting things. Now let us see how these results are they matching to the Lok Sabha results or not. I'm not yet sure about that, but
Sure.
that could mean a significant gain for BJP in the areas which earlier were not supposed to be BJP stronghold areas.
Strongholds.
So
Yeah.
probably the loss which they are facing in these states like UP and Maharashtra may get something can get offset because of the
Hmm.
gains which they do in these new states. So it's a tight contest. So I think we still have to wait because it shows that the numbers
Sumitra,
whether
does
they
he
cross
want to make any
300 or
bold
not is something
predictions?
which
He's
is
like, I'm going to
really.
be in the safe. I'm not going to say anything. There are still
Yeah,
a
yeah.
few
We
more
still have
rounds
to
to go,
wait.
so I don't want to have a foot in mouth for anything.
It's very
Okay,
close.
fair
It's
enough.
very close, but they may pull off a 300 plus. Also, is what my feeling is.
Okay, interesting
No, the
that
only
we've
surprise
now
in
gone
the
down to
only surprise
300
in
plus.
UP is,
But yeah,
no, I was
Dinesh,
saying that the only
I actually want to talk to you about, the other big player of the opposition bloc, which is the Aam Aadmi Party. This was a fight for relevance for them. Most of their leaders under the scanner, as far as the Liquorgate scandal is concerned, most of them behind bars, with the Delhi chief minister himself got an interim bail and had to surrender yesterday. If you look at states like the national capital, as of now, it's the BJP. There's 7 seats. It says 7 to BJP, zero to the Aam Aadmi Party. Even for a state like Punjab, it doesn't look like they seem to be making any inroads. What happens to the relevance of the Aam Aadmi Party, who wanted to have these large national ambitions and not just be a tiny part as far as the opposition bloc is concerned? States where they should have made some gains to have relevance doesn't seem to be going their way.
yeah, in Punjab at least there was this feeling that no, the Aam Aadmi Party government has not really delivered for to the people, and in Delhi, the party itself was in disarray because of the Kejriwal and Sisodia and all of these guys getting being put in jail. So there has been, at least in the initial stages, their work has suffered quite a lot. They were able to campaign
Yeah,
properly only in the last few days. I mean, that could be one factor. I mean, this is just a guess right now. I have no idea why, because trend-wise, it's no surprise if BJP wins all the 7 seats, right? It was a
hmm.
fight for the AAP to win a seat in Delhi, and there were some expectations that they might get 2 seats at best. That was the
Yeah,
expectation before the election began. But my surprise really is not up. My surprise is Akhilesh Yadav trailing in Kannauj. And that if Akhilesh Yadav loses, that's like a real surprise because he has been a
yeah,
key player in Uttar Pradesh, and it's not only Rahul Gandhi, it's Akhilesh Yadav and the Samajwadi Party is a key reason why we are seeing what we are seeing right now. And if Akhilesh loses there, that's going to be a tremendous blow to
yeah.
the coalition.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even for the rallies that we've covered and we've seen on the ground, at least the momentum for Akhilesh Yadav didn't look like it was swaying the other way. We've seen massive crowds swell up. We've seen people line up for all of Akhilesh Yadav's rallies or public appearances. So at least on the ground, as far as the sentiment is concerned, it didn't look like that there seems to be some sort of repulsion against Akhilesh Yadav per se for the sway that he has. But because we're running out
Election
of time, final
Commission site
comments
shows
from.
is leading. Election
So,
Commission site
this,
shows
as
is
I said,
leading.
Uttar Pradesh seems to be changing every minute as I refresh
Yeah, he's
the
leading
website. So
by
I think,
22,000 as per EC site. Yeah, that's a huge margin.
yeah. So I think Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra definitely will, have a very close neck and neck fight, and they seem to be really going down to the wire as of now. But final comments, Onika, hopeful of that 295 numbers and hopeful of proving the exit polls wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not anybody wrong. I think it's fighting a genuine battle without
Hmm.
having a level playing field, as I said. You name it and you saw it, how things went all odds. Despite that, I think this Lok Sabha election, the narrative, in fact, BJP had to play with the narrative of the opposition. It was the other way around for the last 2 years. We were, they were putting up a narrative and we were countering it. Now, BJP had to
Hmm.
counter and they went all guns talking about, weird things like Mangal Sutra to Bhais to Mujra to what not. So they were at a
Okay.
loss as to where and how start this election. Nevertheless, it's a battle, and let's see. May the best team win.
Okay, Dinesh, final comments from you, at least as to the trends that hold as of 11:30.
Yeah, at least, I mean, it looks like the people have spoken, and that's a great sign for, because
Yeah.
everybody was writing off Indian democracy, which clearly
Yeah.
is not the case, which is proven
Yeah.
now.
Sumitra, that's interesting what Dinesh is saying, that the confidence, and many within the opposition had said that there was overconfidence within the NDA and the BJP at large, that there will be a clear mandate. That doesn't seem to be. At least there is more of a conversation of the voter maybe wanting a change, and that might not be going as far as the BJP's way is concerned.
I don't quite agree with it. I think, see, 272 is the number that we all have to remember. The expectations which people have from BJP is that, they will get 400, they will get 350. That is where the
I like how
expectation.
Sumitra has changed the entire thing. She's saying
No, no,
it's
I'm not
270,
changing
that's the
anything. Whatever,
majority.
you
If we
have to
get
remember
anything
the
outside
majority
the
She
people
really
is
got
majority,
it
so
on
we
back
don't
foot
get
today.
that for this
I love that.
democracy is
475
running.
to
So it's
350
like
to
it's like the
320.
person going to the exam and somebody is saying you have to get 100 out of
What,
100
ma'am?
every
Come
time.
on.
That's what. So
Come
if
on,
you have not
ma'am.
got 100, you
You're
are
a
not a good
teacher.
candidate. That is what these
Okay.
The teacher knows the
narratives
best.
build. But the passing marks are whatever. So then the person will definitely win the election accordingly. So I'm
Okay.
sure BJP is
Okay.
going to cross 300. NDA is going to cross definitely
Technically,
300.
technically on paper,
Ma'am, stop
Sumitra
giving
is
them
right.
grace
If
marks,
we cross
ma'am. Don't
272
give them
above the majority
us.
mark,
Be
gives
a
a win
firm
as far
teacher.
as the BJP and the NDA is concerned. Technically, she is right. But as far as the narrative is concerned, it will be a big dent if it's under 300 as far as the BJP led NDA is concerned. Unfortunately, we've completely run out of time. Always a pleasure speaking to you, Dinesh, Sumitra, as well as Onika.
Thank
We will
you.
connect with all of you right through the day, and we'll try and see how the next few hours shape up, at least as far as the key constituencies and the big battles are concerned. Keep watching Analysis with Elections with Hindustan Times.